So this is live. So I thought I would do a live stream today, just looking at this pedal board. So got some tone going on today. This is using my gold top with the P90s. I really like this guitar. It's awesome. And I have this month around about 150 songs that I'm going to have to play over various different bands. So I've just built a pedal board. I've got two boards that I'm going to be taking out with me. This is my main board. So a couple of function gigs. I've got a jam house, a couple of jam house nights. Some really cool stuff going on. And essentially that's what that's for. So I've built it for that purpose, really. So I'm excited about using this. It should be a bit of fun using this stuff, but it's the whole point of it is so that I can just use it and go and grab it. I'm not going to have a lot of time because of my day job. I'm not going to have a lot of time in between shows to rebuild a rig, and I'm not going to have a lot of time to plan and program things. So some of these settings that I'm going to be fine tuning will be on stage on the day, but I'm going to go through it and you can kind of see what I'm using as a platform. It starts with the Origin Effects stacked compressor, and I use it in such a way that it's blended, so half the full dry signal's there, and then there's just a little bit of the wet signal in. That's me playing a chord on there. Now if I turn that off, there's not a lot of difference. You're not going to notice a lot of difference in that sound being on and off, but it just squeezes that tone in a little bit, gives me a little bit more punch and sustain. I really like it. So the whole thing with this is it's kind of fundamentally it goes into from there the EQ pedal. EQ pedal's absolutely fantastic, and when you're doing lots of gigs on the fly in different venues, you might need this to tweak some different tones depending on the venue. That's really important. So the GE7 is great for that. It's also with this guitar that I'm using, which is the P90 Les Paul. The P90 Les Paul has a great kind of clean sound. If I do that and just boost the top end, I've instantly got more kind of Fendery sound. So it's great for that sort of thing. I'll be interested to know who else uses these kind of EQ pedals. I've always used an EQ pedal. I really love them as a boost as well. Sometimes you can just knock this up and flatten the EQ and it will just drive everything really nicely. So it'd be interesting to know in the comments if you do that sort of thing. So yeah, cool. Humblebees has said that they love the setup, which is awesome. I'm really enjoying this little rig here, so that's really appreciated. From the EQ, I'm going into the Hudson Broadcast copy, and I'm running it at 18 volts. So, cheers, thanks, Humblebees, for subscribing. That's really cool. This pedal is really cool as a fuzz. So I use it. It's got a low cut here, and I can use it as a fuzz or an overdrive. The really cool thing about it is, right, it's absolutely filthy, or it can just boost and plume the notes a little bit. It's a preamp. The reason why I've got it in front of all this stuff is because when the HX effects is being used for the rest of the rig, you'll notice that sometimes well, in my experience, sometimes this has broken on stage or the power hasn't worked. When the power doesn't work, you're kind of stuffed. If you've got anything in the effects loop, they all just disappear. Um, yeah, that's kind of what happens. So this will run sort of into the input from the Hudson broadcaster, and then I've got a drive pedal. If this all goes wrong, it will still work. So this will just bypass if it doesn't work. This has some patches, so I just use this like a pedal board that I can load whatever pedals I want. So I'm just going to show you some of the ones that that I'm using primarily. So you can go out of the pedal board and load another one up. So this is my normal pedal board that I'd use for everything. So I've had a few requests on here. Please suggest whether go for a Fender Squier or a Yamaha GA15. I would say Fender Squiers are great. I've actually got one that I really like, and so I've got a Squier Telecaster that I use. It's a classic vibe, but in my experience, all the Squiers are great. You can't go wrong, really. The other thing is, if you want the Yamahas, they're really well built and really versatile instruments as well. So you can't go wrong. I would personally go for the Squier because it's got that Fender vibe to it. And then Humblebees has said about how they have their pedals built into the Fender amp. That's really cool. So my dad has the Fender Champion, I think it's called, amp, and it's got like a knob on it, and you can literally have all these sounds on it, which is really cool. And they sound pretty legit. I've got a recording of one on there. If you want to go affordable, there are some really great ones. I mean, this for me was about 45 pounds, Britain, 45 British pounds. It was handmade by somebody from a company called Red Rocket Pedals, and they make kind of clones of other pedals. A really good affordable pedal if you want an overdrive is I'm just getting it now. The best overdrive that's affordable is this. It's called it's a Klon copy, a Klon Centaur copy, and they are just absolutely great. They do everything you'll need, and they're about 30 British pounds. What's that? You know, that's not a lot of money. I've got affiliate links on my page for Amazon. You can get them from there, but you can get them from loads of places, and they just work really well. So I recommend that. If you want an affordable version of this sort of thing, this is a good way to go. So Hotone's got a touch screen. It's got a lot of the effects, but you're just limited really to the 2 buttons, unless you buy an extra switch. They're about £180, but they kind of do a lot, and they sound really good, a good value. And I love it because I can just stick that in my thing. Somebody's asked about the EQ. So you can get a bit of noise. I've got P90s on here, so it might be a bit loud. You can hear it there, actually. You can hear a little bit. It's coming in, if you notice, it's at 3K. 1.6 to 3K is where the noise is coming in. I mean, that's what happened. I think that's kind of going to happen. If I unplugged my pedals, if I just unplug my guitar, there's no additional sound. So it's coming from the pickups, you know, rather than the actual EQ. I mean, test that out first, because there's nothing you can do about that with any EQ pedal if it does just make that sound, because it's your pickups on your guitar. proper like honky sounding like that. Is that Peter Green? There you go. There's an EQ curve that makes it sound a bit like Peter Green. It's interesting how you can just totally change the character of a guitar with one of these. I used to use, Peter Ludlow mentioned using the cheap Behringer one. I used one of those for absolutely years, and I think I did break it in the end, which was me not being very clever and standing on it by accident at a rehearsal. But it's good to be subtle with these. I don't remember the Behringer being noisy enough for me to want to get rid of it, but I did use it with a Les Paul back in the day when I used to use it, and then my PRS McCarthy. Lost my train of thought. This all goes into here where I've got mostly stuff that's like modulations, and I've got like a wah here, harmonic trem. It's not very harmonic tremmy in my opinion. What's going on with that? If I put this one on, it sounds quite cool. It's quite synthy. This is like a chorus, and a delay. And you can change the tempo of that. It's quite cool. I've just noticed with this one, the setting for my wah is right over there. So with this pedal, I can just put my fingers on there and it'll just swap them around. So I can then use and get access to it there. The reason why as well, I've opted to have my drive pedals after the wahs, because you get that throaty, Jimi Hendrixy, Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of sound when you do add a drive to it. So I'll show you how that works. So once this is, so my signal's gone right through the compressor, through the EQ, through the broadcast. I just thought I'd demo this. It's very nasty sounding. So I'm using it for songs like this. So yeah, you'd normally put your fuzzies around about there in the actual like signal path. So on here, I'll show you. There you can see I've got my wah, and then this one here is my is a different kind of signal flow. So this one is just noticed that my thing is showing like sideways. I don't know if I can reorientate that to make it easier for people watching. If I go on there, no, you'll have to excuse me. It's like my second ever live stream. I'm pretty new to this. And okay, what am I doing? No, I don't want to retouch. God, there's loads of settings and functions going on here. I think I'm going to leave it where it is. Okay, so okay. So the next thing is this one here, this is an effects loop that's just always on, and the effects loop sends a signal into this pedal here, which is an overdrive, and this is my protein, and then it goes into this one here, which is the King of Tone. The King of Tones are quite sought after kind of pedals, but I'll show you what they're used for. They do different jobs for me. So this side here is blue, and the blue side does this, so it goes. So it boosts this tone. And it just sounds big. This one here is based on a Noble's ODR1, it's like a distortion. And it's proper distortion. And then the other ones are the King of Tone. So the King of Tone has this side, which is like an overdrive. It's still very much got the character of the amp and the guitar, but it just adds that grit to it. And then this is like a boost. So it's just clean. I really like that. And of course, you know, that sounds like we've got 4 settings, but when I start combining them, got loads of harmonics. You know, you can combine that one and that one. All of that business. And then what I've got is, so that just goes back into the HX effects, and then I've got signal coming out into this pedal. Now this is it's called a Tonex 1, and it's basically uses AI to reproduce the sound of existing amplifiers that have had sort of like captures done, and it's kind of like turned amps into Pokemon in the sense that, you know, you can capture the tone and sound from an amp using a process, and then it's stored in a file, and you can just download that capture from the amp, and it essentially will recreate and reproduce that sound. And you can get some of the, you know, you can get a lot of them for free, which is, you know, it's a thing. And sometimes you can get them, you can pay for like packages. And this pedal will work as a tuner, it will work as a stomp box, so I can capture a stomp box if I need one. And I'm going into one of my amps. But all these gigs that I'm doing, probably 60% of them are gigs where I'm not encouraged to bring an amplifier at all. So, for example, one of them, I'm going to be walking around the middle of Birmingham, you know, I've got to walk at least 400-500 meters to the car through dark areas at night. So I'm going to take one guitar and I'm going to take a pedal board. I don't want to be carrying any more than that, you know, really. So there's that side of things, but then there's also the side of it where, you know, you bring your amp in and then you're not even using the speaker. So I'm using this kind of stuff. So this has got, this is based on John Mayer's Dumble, apparently, for that. Now if I do this one, this is based on Angus Young's guitar tone, his J1045. There's a Marshall with a 4x12. Who wouldn't love that? And that's just a nice clean. Next, I go into this pedal. This is a Fathom. I'll press on that. It's basically a reverb. It's got really cool features on it. So that's it, like on a basic hall reverb. But this has a sustain pedal, like a piano. So if I press this note, it will just run whilst I'm pressing it down. And the other cool thing is I can use like other reverbs. They modulate. This trem, this was the trem I wanted, optical trem. That's quite cool. There's another trem that's really good on here, 60s. Yeah, that's the one. And I can assign my controller to it as well. I want to do that. Alright, so go back off that, turn it off, save it. This is what does my editing with stuff like Line 6. You have to save everything. So it works as a good tremolo. Or you can make it like a univibe. Anyway, I enjoy that. So that's kind of where the signal goes. So we're going in through there, into here, in. I've got an effects loop that's working on those, so I can patch this in differently. Going into my Tonex for my amps. I've got 20 other amps stored in there if I need them, and I've got some different things that I'm into. So I like Fender clean amps. I like Marshall distortion amps. I also love Mesa Boogies, so I've got a Mesa Boogie on there. The new Cali, I think it's called the California 20, and it just sounds mega. That's a really nice, clean sounding amp. Fender Tweed, Fender Bassman, Fender Super Reverb, really great sounding amps. Just so you know, I'm going to this. Now this is really important. So the end of the pedal rig is an A-B-Y splitter, okay? So I'm going into the Y from there. And what I'm doing is it's going on both A and B settings. One's going to go to my monitor. If I bring a personal monitor, one will go straight into the desk, and I can do that. So it kind of comes out. It's not really stereo because I've got a mono input going into it, so there'll be no real use of stereo effects, but the actual sound will be going sort of a version going into a monitor mix and a version going into the PA system, which will go out front. And that's it in a nutshell. That's the rig. Like I say, it's really flexible. I can change things on the day if I need to. Like I've got this one here. There's a copy of the other setup, except I've got a flanger on there. There's a song that I'm doing that you might recognise. There's like it does that sort of thing. So yeah, you can do that with it. it's just very flexible. If anyone's got any questions, happy to answer, or ideas, or if you've done a similar thing, it'd be really cool to hear from you guys. Before I wrap up, if has anyone got any questions or anything you'd like me to talk about, and I'll wrap it up. No, I really appreciate you guys being on this, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Now, I've got to work out how to turn this stream off.